vision or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Around our area, a weekly look at community newspapers from around Western New York now continues. Your reader for this hour is Linda Lover. So these next articles comes from the Orchard Park Bee. 2025 Year in Review. The year 2025 brought several changes and notable moments to Orchard Park. The Bee looks back at some of the major stories that affected the community over the past year. January. Several members of Girl Scout Troop 30350 of Orchard Park received the Girl Scout Medal of Honor on January 10th for their actions while traveling in Adelboden, Switzerland. While eating lunch near the Vogelseeberg Trail, the girls saw a man collapse and become unresponsive. Scout leaders determined the man had no pulse, located an automated external defibrillator, and contacted emergency services. February. Former Orchard Park resident Dan Blake, a 66-year-old military veteran, completed a 2,941-mile bicycle journey across the United States to raise funds and awareness for Stroke Onward, an organization that supports stroke survivors and their families. March. The Orchard Park Town Board approved a rezoning request for Cobham Drive at its March 5th meeting. Councilmember Joseph Liberty made the motion to rezone the property from R3 and I-1 to fully I-1 industrial. The decision followed a public hearing where residents from California Road and Stepping Stone Lane voiced opposition. The rezoning allows construction of a 50 by 240-foot office and warehouse building for Eaton Mission Systems. Concerns raised included buffering the property with trees to limit visibility from neighboring homes. April. Orchard Park resident Benjamin Schaefer ran the 129th Boston Marathon on April 21st as a member of the Dana-Farber Marathon Challenge team, raising funds for cancer research. Schaefer graduated from Orchard Park High School in 2015. The Village of Orchard Park approved its 2025-26 budget at its April 14th meeting. The budget reflected a decrease of $106,168 from the previous year. Mayor Jo Ann Litwin Clinton cited increases in salaries, health insurance, property and casualty insurance, New York State retirement costs, materials, salt, fuel, and equipment. May. The Honorary Veteran Banner Program launched in Orchard Park in May, following years of attempts with support from the Orchard Park Rotary, American Legion Post 567, and its auxiliary, and the Orchard Park Taxpayer Association. The program was fully funded and offered at no cost to veterans or their families. Financial concerns dominated discussion at the May 7th Town Board meeting when council members Joe Liberty and John Mariano raised questions related to town audits. Mariano said a town checking account overdrafted while auditors were closing the 2024 audit. Liberty said he received an email from the town auditor citing discrepancies in nearly $100,000 in questioned funds tied to the clerk's office. Town Supervisor Eugene Maitrezak addressed the issue again at the May 21st meeting, stating no funds were missing. Several council members later sent a letter to the Bee addressed to taxpayers outlining their concerns about town financial records and accountability. June. Fifth grade students at St. John Vianney School published a children's book titled Carl Carrot's Super Strong Second Grade Day. Deputy Deputy Erie County Executive Lisa Chimeri visited the school June 5th to read the book to students. The Orchard Park girls lacrosse team captured the New York State Championship, defeating Burnt Hills Ballston Lake 2-0 in the state semifinals June 13th, and Horseheads 3-1 in the finals the following day. The title was the program's first since 2015. July. The Village of Orchard Park hosted its first farmers market July 7th at Princeton Place, featuring produce vendors and local artisans. The 20th annual Taste of Orchard Park was held July 23rd. Orchard Park student Shay Burns won a national title at the 2025 U.S. Figure Skating XL Nationals, earning the Juvenile Plus Championship and the highest performance award on July 11th in Colorado Springs. Town Clerk Remy Orfeo retired on July 25th after 10 years of service. August. Orchard Park Recreation hosted its first Chalk Walk July 26th at the Orchard Park Community Activity Center. 13 artists competed, creating artwork that was judged with prize money and plaques awarded to the top 3. The Buffalo Bills started their final season at the current stadium as preparations continued for the new $2.1 billion stadium across the street. A draft presentation for the stadium area comprehensive development study was discussed during the August 13th Town Board work session. September. The Shakir Family Foundation held its second annual pet adoption event August 30th at Northtown Toyota in Amherst. Founded by Buffalo Bills wide receiver Khalil Shakir and his family, the foundation partnered with local sponsors and 8 animal rescues to promote pet adoption and animal welfare. More than 19 pets were adopted during the event, surpassing the foundation's total from its inaugural year, along with exceeding its fundraising goal for participating rescues. The Village of Orchard Park Board of Trustees approved a $4.8 million water line replacement project on September 8th, calling for upgrades along South Buffalo Street. The board authorized seeking state funding, approved additional municipal actions, and adopted a resolution opposing state restrictions on natural gas hookups in new buildings. October. The Orchard Park Town Court received a $10,000 federal grant approved by the Town Board on October 1st to expand its internship program for high school students. The funding supported about 20 student interns, each eligible for a $500 stipend after completing hands-on work in court operations and the legal system. Voters in Orchard Park headed to the polls November 4th to elect a town supervisor, 2 town council members, a town clerk, and a superintendent of highways. The ballot featured contested races for supervisor, council, and highway superintendent, while William Evan ran unopposed for town clerk. November. Goldfish Swim School opened a new Orchard Park location in late 2025, hosting a ribbon cutting and a series of open house and family swim events ahead of its full launch in 2026. Located on Southwestern Boulevard, the facility became the company's second Western New York site and was designed to provide year-round swim instruction for children while expanding water safety education for Southtowns families. December. The Village of Orchard Park Board of Trustees approved new water rates for 2026 and postponed a short-term rental request at its December 8th meeting. And some local news. District Community Closet offers free resources to families year-round. The holiday season is often regarded as a time when communities come together to give back and support one another, and the West Seneca Central School District is certainly no exception, as their Community Resource Closet continues to receive a steady stream of donations throughout the month of December. Through this program, not only are families able to shop for essentials free of charge during the holidays, but year-round to ensure they always have access to the supplies they need. Located in the district's Ebenezer building at 900 Mill Road, the Community Closet offers free clothing, shoes, winter wear, and hygiene supplies to district families at no cost. Once a month, interested parties are invited to come in during the closet's open shop hours and pick out supplies, catering to a wide age range from infants to teens. We typically have anywhere from 50 to 75 families a month who utilize our clothes closet, said District Outreach Social Worker Melissa Brindamore. We have a ton of donations coming in with the holidays, and we've had a lot of different groups reach out to us to donate. According to Brindamore, by providing this service, the district is able to help alleviate the stress of certain costs for families and make sure their students can come to school feeling confident and prepared to learn. When our kids have their basic needs met, when they can show up to school looking their best and feeling their best, they can be the best version of themselves. So we want to make sure that every student has the opportunity to look good and feel good and show up prepared and ready to learn, Brenda Moore said. This is also one less thing that families have to worry about paying for and providing for their family. There is assistance through food assistance and maybe sometimes utility assistance, but kids grow out of their clothing super quickly and it is super expensive. So by providing this, it's one less thing that they have to buy. Throughout the year, the closet also runs specialty drives for seasonally in-demand items. We run a back-to-school drive where we give free school supplies and backpacks to students in our district. And we also do a coat distribution offering winter gear, boots, and coats for kids in our district, Brenda Moore said. In addition to the community closet, the district offers many other resources year-round for families. I always have mental health or family support resources available in the clothes closet, Brenda Moore said. I'm a social worker by trade, so if families need assistance with linking up to community partners or receiving assistance from social services or housing or things like that, I'm always available to help make a linkage for those types of services as well. Brenda Moore said that families can find the closet's monthly shopping hours through a variety of ways, including her family support newsletter. And on the district website or Facebook page. Those interested in donating can email her at mbrindamore, that's MBRINDAMOUR, at wscschools.org. Here's a Bee editorial. What's new at the Bee? A look backwards and forwards. The past year was an eventful time here at the Bee. We began 2025 getting to know Sample News Group, which had taken ownership of the company less than a month beforehand on December 2nd, 2024. We started publishing the paper on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays, launched a brand new website, changed some of the computer programs we use here in the office, and even got an Instagram account. Check it out at www.instagram.com/orchardparkb/ if you haven't seen it yet. It was certainly a busy year, and we're not done yet. We're looking to make more changes in the new year to improve our online presence through the Bee website. We're getting into a new groove with our social media presence too, and we'll be looking to you to see what resonates with the community. If we make a social media post you appreciate, you can give it a like, a comment, or even a share, so we know what you really want to see. Of course, some things will stay the same, and all of our writers are dedicated to our longtime slogan, often repeated by former Bee publisher Trey Meeser, local, local, local. We'll, of course, stay on top of the hyper-local news that makes Orchard Park unique, alongside a couple of new countrywide initiatives like Teen of the Week and Athlete of the Week. These two features run in all of the Bee newspapers. just like our All B sports coverage or our lifestyle section feature stories. As we start into a brand new year, we look forward to seeing what 2026 brings. Whether here at the Bee or out in the community, there are sure to be plenty of new and exciting things happening. We hope you're excited for the upcoming year as we are. These next articles come from the East Aurora Bee. 2025 Year in Review. It was another eventful year in the greater East Aurora area. From new businesses to new elected officials to East Aurora's debut on the small screen. Here is a look back at 2025. Iroquois Family Support Center. This year, the Iroquois Central School District partnered with nonprofit Horizon Health Services to launch the district's first ever Family Support Center, which provides students and families with essential supports and services beyond typical school offerings, aiming to alleviate issues like mental health struggles, food insecurity, job instability, homelessness, and financial needs, acting as a bridge to community resources and fostering family well-being. Tree pruning in Village of East Aurora. Residents of the Village of East Aurora spent the year once again defending the village's trees from being excessively pruned to accommodate New York State Electric and Gas, known as NYSEG, going installation of GoNet Speed fiber internet lines. Residents told the village board that progress is happening without respect for the village's identity, leading to drastic tree removal for internet lines and development, prompting an approved moratorium of tree trimming as well as calls for better balance and legal action. Friends of Griffin Mills. Town of Aurora residents within the historic hamlet of Griffin Mills, now considered the hamlet of West Falls, came together to relaunch the Friends of Griffin Mills organization. The goal of the Friends of Griffin Mills mission is to preserve, document, and share the history of the hamlet of Griffin's Mills. This is done by creating a historical reference center to accumulate, store, and display historical items and records, and to increase the awareness and the heritage of the value of the Griffin's Mills community by hosting programs that make history come alive and be visible. The hamlet resurrected the beloved Griffin's Mills Heritage Day in August to celebrate the hamlet's role in the anti-slavery abolitionist movement, specifically how it connected to the Erie Canal, which notably and respectively celebrated its 250th anniversary this year. Iroquois Board Race. The Iroquois Central School District made headlines this school board election by having the most individuals, 5, vying for one open spot. The candidates were applauded for their dedication to the district and interested in a non-paid board spot. Ultimately, Henry Zizmula III was elected to the board for a 5-year term. Town of Aurora partners with Tool Library. The Town of Aurora Climate Smart Task Force and the Aurorans for Climate and Energy Sense, known as ACES, teamed up to bring the Buffalo-based nonprofit Tool Library's Dare to Repair Cafe to East Aurora. The event allows community members to bring in broken items such as bikes, computers, and toys for volunteers to try to fix in an attempt to prevent waste. The event fixed more than 50 items, diverting hundreds of pounds of waste from local landfills. Anti-bullying protest. After several reports of racially charged bullying at the East Aurora Middle School, local parents and students held a protest at Hamlin Park in East Aurora denouncing the behavior. The district reiterated that East Aurora has zero tolerance for bullying or racism and that all individuals involved are being reprimanded. The district added that it would increase anti-racism training into its curriculum. East Aurora appears on the small screen. The village of East Aurora was featured on the small screen this winter during the premiere of Hallmark Channel's Holiday Touchdown, A Bill's Love Story, on November 22nd. The Western New York-centered Christmas love story included a reenactment of East Aurora's famous Carolcade caroling event, which was filmed in July. The community notably held a peppermint rally to East Aurora's Main Street to celebrate the premiere of the movie. Larigo named to open government coalitions. Nice list other local officials denounced naughty. Erie County 10th District Legislator Lindsay Larigo was recently named to a New York Coalition for Open Government's Nice List. The nonpartisan group released its Naughty and Nice list recently, highlighting examples of transparency in government, as well as instances of governments or elected officials stifling government transparency. Larigo, who was re-elected to a second term in office this year, was recognized for introducing the meeting's Transparency Act and getting it passed into law in Erie County, as well as her open office hours around her district, which she started earlier this year. Erie County's Meetings Transparency Act, passed in 2025, mandates greater public access to local government meetings by requiring at least 7-day advance notice for regular meetings, posting agendas with topics and speakers online, live streaming or recording meetings, and making draft minutes and official documents available within 10 business days, ensuring county boards and commissions provide the same accessibility as the Maine legislature. Larigo took to Facebook to thank the coalition for the recognition. This recognition from a bipartisan organization dedicated to transparency and accountability means so much to me, she wrote in a statement. Open, accessible government matters to the people we serve, and I'm proud to champion policies that strengthen public trust. The coalition also acts as a nonprofit organization that relies on volunteers, advocates for open government, and addresses government transparency issues across the state. It has released its Naughty and Nice list each December since 2022. The list included 10 naughty and 10 nice individuals, groups, or governments. But the Republican county legislator was not the only local official named during this year's list announcement. Erie County Sheriff John Garcia was named to the naughty list for his and his administration's alleged failure to comply with the New York FOIL laws, such as the handling of the Granville police disciplinary matter. The coalition also noted recent lawsuits filed against the Republican sheriff from news organizations. Additionally, New York State Senator Pat Gallivan was named to the naughty list for introducing a bill to roll back the recent court victory regarding police disciplinary records. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was named to the naughty list for promising a new era of transparency in Albany and not following through, including by vetoing 2 FOIL reform bills passed by the legislature this year. This year marks the 3rd year Hochul made the naughty list. Also included on the coalition's list, the naughty list, Saratoga Springs Commissioner Dylan Moran found guilty of violating FOIL after a trial. Town of Hempstead for being held in contempt of court due to their withholding thousands of emails in a FOIL case. The town only released 17 of 3,000 emails, which the court called willful disobedience and resistance. Syracuse Common Council for refusing to release a draft audit report and for discussing budget amendments in private. City of Buffalo for their continued violation of New York law by failing to respond to or process FOIL requests as required. Town of Evans for settling a defamation lawsuit filed by a former town supervisor in secret. Niagara Falls Mayor Robert Restaino, upset by the way the Niagara Gazette covers his administration, the mayor stated he is ignoring FOIL requests from the newspaper. And on the nice list, attorney Mike Brandy for getting violation charges regarding the Freedom of Information law filed in New York State, resulting in the conviction of Dylan Moran in Saratoga Springs, the first such conviction in New York State. Troy Councilmember Ryan Brosnan for breaking with his political party to be the key vote needed to move forward an item to allow video conference meetings to occur with public participation. East Ramapo School District, Moses Koth, for raising concerns about late-filed items at meetings without the public seeing them 24 hours prior. New York Civil Liberties Union, for 5 years of litigation efforts, which resulted in a successful decision by the New York Court of Appeals that police disciplinary records, whether substantiated or not, are subject to FOIL. Police Discipline Data Coordinator, USA Today, Burl Lipton, who led a team of reporters working with USA Today regarding police disciplinary records. Mount Pleasant resident James Russell for filing an Article 78 FOIL lawsuit on his own against his town and winning it. The town has filed an appeal, and New York NYCOG has filed a brief in support of his lawsuit. Canton Town Board for refusing to join a town in holding a joint executive session together. Reclaim the Records for their successful FOIL lawsuit for the release of the New York State Death Index for the years 1880 through 2017, a total of 10 million records. Here's a little sports news. Iroquois Alden boys hockey makes statement in comeback win over Amherst. The Iroquois Alden boys hockey team showed its resilience Saturday night, battling through early rust and a 5-goal deficit before earning a thrilling 6-5 overtime victory over Amherst at Holiday Twin Rinks to close out the 2025 calendar year. Coming off nearly 2 weeks without game action, the Red Hawks were slow to find their rhythm as Amherst struck twice in a 35-second span late in the first quarter to grab a 2-0 lead. Amherst continued to apply pressure in the second, building a 5-2 advantage and putting Iroquois Alden in a difficult spot midway through the game. Head coach Ty Moran said the slow start was understandable given the long layoff and limited practice time over the holiday break. We definitely needed to get our feet under us, Moran said. By the end of that second period, you started seeing our legs move and everything started to click a little bit better. Having 2 weeks off doesn't help, and then with the holidays, we don't get on the ice as much as you'd like. We were kind of short on ice time and then swung right back into game mode. Iroquois Alden began its comeback early in the second period when Sawyer Beck scored off a feed from Landon Moretti to get the Red Hawks on the board. Although Amherst answered with 3 more goals in the period, Iroquois Alden closed the gap late when Aiden Ryan finished a setup from Will Reardon, giving the Red Hawks momentum heading into the third. I thought by the end of the second we were starting to play our game, Moran said. We were simplifying things, moving our feet, and doing the little things right. Once that happens, we're a tough team to play against. That momentum carried over into the final period. Moretti cut the deficit to 1 with a goal just over 5 minutes in, and Trent Hoffman tied the game less than 90 seconds later, sending the bench into a frenzy and forcing overtime. Our big guys stepped up and made plays, Moran said. When the guys that are important to us do what they do, it lifts the entire team. Hoffman delivered the decisive moment late in overtime, finishing a sustained offensive zone shift to complete the comeback and secure the 6-5 win. We got the draw in the zone and were able to keep pressure going, Moran said. We got a quick change, we were fresh, and they were a little tired. We used that to our advantage, broke them down, and got the perfect opportunity in front. Moretti paced the offense with 4 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, while Hoffman finished with 2 goals and an assist. Beck added a goal and 2 assists. Moran also highlighted the impact of Brooks Dennis, one of the team's captains, and Ryan, an assistant captain and 3-year varsity player. When Brooks is going, our whole team is going, Moran said. That's huge for us. And with Aiden, once his feet get moving, the game changes. He's a great skater, moves the puck well, and it just helps everyone around him. Another key factor in the win was the play of 8th grader goaltender Thomas Herman, who finished with 10 saves and kept Iroquois Alden within striking distance during Amherst's early surge. Tommy made some big saves for us when we needed it, Moran said. For an 8th grader, that's not easy. He really gave us a chance to stay in it. The game also carried added meaning for Moran, who noted the respect between the two programs, and Amherst head coach Mike Capizzi. Mike and I both came in last year, and it's great having someone like that around, Moran said. We're both smaller districts, both trying to compete and make sure we have full rosters. It's always a fun game to play against them. The win improved Iroquois Alden to 3-2 on the season and provided a confidence boost heading into a busy stretch of games. We got a stretch coming up where it's games and no practices, so this was important for us, Moran said. Now that we've gotten through the holidays and got our feet back under us, we're excited to really get the season going and see what we can do. These next articles come from the West Seneca Bee, 2025 Year in Review. The recently concluded year of 2025 was a busy one in the town of West Seneca. A lot of good news came out of last year, as well as some that was not so good. But all of these events continued to strengthen the community bonds by virtue of common experiences. Here are some of the highlights. Seneca Mall. The biggest story of the year happened right off the bat last year when the long vacant Seneca Mall property was sold in January. The mall, which opened in 1969 and closed in 1994, was sold by Pyramid Management Group to Benchmark Streamline, LLC, in 2 separate transactions worth $22 million. The redevelopment of the entire site at 325 Orchard Park Road will include large-scale retail and restaurant work, although the existing Tops Market will remain. The project will also include a fueling facility, which is an accessory to one of the new anchor tenants. Progress on the project is moving slowly with a lot of hoops to jump through as well as some demolition work. The new owner is expecting to go before the town zoning board and planning board in the first quarter of 2026. Town Justice. Paula Ede Newcomb was sworn in as West Seneca's newest town justice just prior to the new year, filling the void left when Jeffrey Harrington was elected as a full-time family court judge. But Ede had to step down in April due to health concerns. The West Seneca Town Board then appointed and approved Chelsea McDonald to fill that position. McDonald fended off a challenge from Paul Mikulik Jr. in June's Republican primary, although the two would meet again in November's general election. Les Mis. West Seneca West won the award for Best Musical Production in the Shays Wonder Awards. Also, West Jr. Jonah Higgins represented Western New York at the Jimmy Awards in New York City. Shays also presented a check for $5,000 to the school for its performing arts program. Redistricting. The biggest issue facing the West Seneca Central School District was perhaps its longest-standing one. For decades, there has been a growing disparity in class sizes and enrollments between the east and west sides of town, prompting officials over the years to come up with a series of short-term fixes that didn't really address the core problems. But this year, the Board of Education adopted the redistricting plan that had been put forth by School Superintendent Dr. Lisa Kruger. It calls for the reconfiguration of elementary schools, centralizing community services in the Winchester building, moving all district offices to East Elementary, and filling in the swimming pools at East and West Middle Schools in favor of additional instructional spaces. There are also plans for the construction of a new bus transportation center by 2029. Summer festivals. There are many festivals and carnivals in town during the summer months, headlined by two of the biggest, the 51st Annual Community Day Celebration in June and the 44th Annual Queen of Heaven Carnival in July. Both featured rides, live entertainment, food vendors, beverages, and raffles. Both events drew several thousand visitors. Off and away. West Seneca implemented the state-mandated distraction-free learning environment law, which went into effect at the beginning of the current school year. The law bans students from using any internet-enabled device, tablet, smartwatch, or cell phone during the school day, from start to finish, including during free periods or on field trips. Ice rink. West Seneca residents and town board members saw a presentation on the proposed ice rink and recreation facility in Centennial Park. The new building would be built adjacent to the existing single rink, which is 50 years old and in need of serious and expensive upgrades and repairs. The proposed twin rink facility would also include a regulation high school gymnasium, restaurant, pro shop, restrooms, concession stands, storage, locker rooms, a walking path on the second level, and plenty of additional parking spaces. The proposal was divisive, with some residents in favor of the project, while others wanted to maintain the green space of Centennial Park. The July presentation lacked any concrete numbers, however, and when the cost was found to be at least $60 million, but possibly more, the town board put the project on indefinite hold. BOE elections. Newly re-elected Edmund Bedient was sworn in for another term as West Seneca Central School District Board of Education president. Trustee Marla Greenberg was named vice president, while Zachary Armstrong was sworn in as trustee, filling the seat left by the departed Vincent Vanderlip. Also sworn in for the 25-26 school year were Charlotte Stews, ex officio student board member, East Senior, Adam Zerpzask, alternate ex officio student board member from East Senior, Cal Carlson, ex officio student board member from West Senior, and Ryan Simpson, alternate ex officio student board member from West Senior. Dr. Lisa Kruger was also sworn in again as school superintendent. Speed limit. The West Seneca Town Board approved a law that lowered the speed limit on all town roads from 35 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. The law, which went into effect in early fall, primarily affected residential side streets and not any major county or state routes. Lowering the speed limit is one of the main reasons I decided to run for the board in the first place, said outgoing councilwoman Susan Kims. Doggy. The West Seneca Police Department was a grateful recipient of the donation of a community engagement and support canine, a therapy dog, in August. An Australian Labradoodle puppy. She was named Hattie by the WSPD. The puppy underwent training and now makes community appearances and sometimes goes out on calls if her services are deemed appropriate. Veteran. There aren't many World War II veterans left, but one of them lives in West Seneca, and the Joint Veterans Committee made sure he received the appropriate accolades. Edgar Wilkie served in the United States Army more than 80 years ago in World War II. He celebrated his 100th birthday in April and then was awarded a Quilt of Valor in September by the American Red Cross. Thank you for your service, sir. Battery storage. The West Seneca Town Board finally settled on a measure to restrict the storage of energy storage systems after its moratorium had expired. Residents were unhappy about the prospect of lithium batteries nearby, as they, in some instances, have exploded or produced long-burning fires. The new law bans the storage of large industrial batteries while allowing smaller residential ones, requires a distance of 500 feet from any residential zoning districts and 1,000 feet from any educational facility, nursing home, skilled nursing facility, or waterway, and increases the fines for any infraction. Supervisor Gary Dixon said that the town wanted some kind of regulation in place so that it had a measure of control over the subject matter in the absence of any state mandate. Birch Fest. The third annual Birch Fest was held on Saturday, September 13th at various locations throughout the town of West Seneca. Created to highlight the life and works of world-renowned artist Charles E. Birchfield and his family, Birch Fest featured several artistic, historic, and educational destinations and events. The events get bigger and draws more people each year. Expansion. The West Seneca Town Board approved a $255 million expansion project brought forth by Upstate Niagara Cooperative, Upstate Farms Dairy, at its current location at 3300 North American Drive in the town's industrial corridor. The 122,000 square foot expansion required 2 votes, one for an amended use permit and one to allow a variance on height limitations. The expansion is expected to provide 100 new jobs. Election. In November's only contested race in West Seneca, Democrat Paul Michalek Jr. is the winner of the contest for West Seneca Town Justice, defeating Republican incumbent Chelsea McDonald. The rest of the races in West Seneca were unopposed and went to Republicans. Incumbent Lindsay Larigo kept her seat in Erie County Legislature District 10, which includes West Seneca. West Seneca Town Councilman Bob Breedenstein retained his seat on the town board and will serve another 4-year term. Mary Sherman was the winner of the other available seat on the West Seneca Town Board. She's taking the spot being vacated by Susan Kims, who's not running again. And some local news. West Seneca native to appear in new zombie rock musical. West Seneca native Tristan Smith has been cast as Punxsutawney in the world premiere of the new zombie rock musical Romeo and Juliet, written by Broadway veterans Scott Logston and Aaron Gandy. Romeo and Juliet will open on Friday, February 13th, with 2 additional shows on the following day at Pittsburgh's Great Theater. Inspired by Shakespeare's classic love story and George Romero's seminal zombie film Night of the Living Dead, this new story takes place in 1985 when Romero, a human regional guardsman, falls for zombie Juliet. Romance and tragedy ensue. Smith made his off-Broadway debut in a concert version of the show in November at the famous venue, the Cutting Room, New York City, where he co-starred with Broadway luminaries John Bolton, Natalie Joy Johnson, and Chani Maisonette. Earlier this year, he appeared the first concert version of the show, produced by Split Stage Productions in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Tristan is a remarkable talent, said writer-director Logston. The role was originally conceived as being someone older, But when Tristan brought his talent, remarkable comic timing, and idiosyncratic choices into the audition room, there was no other choice for us. We consider ourselves lucky to have had him with us in the concert productions and could not be more thrilled to have him originate this role in the world premiere. Smith is a BFA musical theater student at Slippery Rock University. Some of his previous credits include Franklin Hart Jr. in 9 to 5, Joey Primo in Rock of Ages, Khashoggi in We Will Rock You, and Ensemble in Sweeney Todd. Most recently, he was seen as the teen angel / Vince Fontaine in Grease with the Music Academy of Western New York and studied Nigel in Alice by Heart at SRU. Tickets can be purchased by visiting www.truestarts.org/production 104-737 or calling 412-456-6666. These next articles come from the Hamburg Sun. Hamburg Senior Community Center to be named after West Hare Auto Group chairman. In February, the new Hamburg Senior Community Center got its location in September. Bonding its contracts were approved for its construction. In December, it got its name. An agreement between the town of Hamburg and West Hare Auto Group will see the center named the Brad Hafner Senior and Community Center in honor of the chairman of West Hare. The agreement was announced on December 19th and approved 5-0 by the Hamburg Town Board on December 22nd. Hafner, a Hamburg native, joined West Hare as a salesman in 1959, became a partner in 1970, sole owner in 1975, and chairman in 1997. In that time, West Hare, which celebrated 75 years in the community in 2025, has grown to have 50 locations across Western New York. Brad Hafner is more than a business leader. He's a mentor, a teacher, and someone who genuinely cares about people, said Scott Beeler, president and CEO of West Hare, in a statement on the agreement. The Senior and Community Center is the perfect fit for honoring Brad's legacy. He believes in giving back, in lifting others up, and in building strong communities. It means a great deal to me and to West Hare that his name will live on forever at a place dedicated to connection, care, and service in Brad's hometown, Hamburg. Supervisor Elizabeth Farrell Lawrence said getting naming rights for the center had been the plan for a couple of years. She said talks with West Hare about being involved with the naming rights have been going on for around a year. The town of Hamburg is incredibly excited that a hometown legend's name and the iconic hometown business he grew with, Scott Beeler, will grace our new Senior and Community Center, Farrell Lawrence said in the statement. Brad Hafner's story is deeply woven into Hamburg's fabric, and this commitment from West Hare ensures his legacy will be felt for generations. This is what happens when local leadership, community pride, and genuine generosity come together. The naming rights also comes with a financial commitment from West Hare. Farrell Lorenz said the company did make a donation to the town for the project, but as per the agreement, the specifics are confidential. Hafner's name will now adorn the 21,000 square foot facility set to be built on town-owned land at 2982 Lakeview Road. The new center is expected to include a slightly larger fitness room, a gymnasium, new folding wall, multi-purpose classrooms, outdoor pickleball courts, and an outdoor gathering space. In December, the town hired Square Engineering DPC to provide construction management services on the center. They are now working with the selected contractors and town officials to develop a timeline for the project. Town officials are still hopeful that the Youth Recreation and Senior Services Department and its programming will move into the new center in December of this year. This would coincide with the town's current lease at SUNY Erie South Building 4, where the department and programming is currently housed, ending in December of 2026. Letters from Waste Management complicating town switchover to refuse and recycling district. As the town of Hamburg prepares to have its refuse and recycling district up and running this year, with service provided by Modern Disposal, a new issue has risen that may complicate pickup for residents prior to the Wednesday, April 1st start date. Bob Mahoney, a longtime advocate who worked on the creation of the refuse and recycling district in the town, said residents have begun to contact him about letters they received from Waste Management, one of the refuse providers currently in the municipality. The letter obtained by the Sun states that Waste Management will be ending residential service in the town prior to April 1st. They said the last day of collection would occur during the week of March 16th. After the collection is completed, Waste Management would also be taking back its totes. Mahoney said he received a letter with a different last day of collection, occurring during the week of March 23rd. He added he's been made aware of at least 3 different last day of collection dates. Hundreds and hundreds of calls on this issue, Mahoney said. There's people that are going to be without service for 2 weeks. Something has to be done, and I don't know where to go with it. Mahoney said residents have been blaming the town for the issue. He added that Waste Management has not returned his calls on the matter. I just want residents to know that it's not the town or our committee that had anything to do with this early discontinuing of services, Mahoney said. Garrett Trierweiler, Director of Public Affairs for Waste Management, confirmed when services will stop. As part of the orderly transition of service for Waste Management to collect carts from customers prior to the new hauler commencing operations on April 1st, 2026, half of our existing customers' final collection week will be March 16th through 20th, and the other half, March 23rd through 27th. In an email to the Sun, all our customers have been notified, and the town of Hamburg was informed several times since this past August. In October, the town entered into a 3-year deal with Modern Disposal to handle garbage, recycling, and bulk waste pickup starting in 2026. The service excludes the Village of Hamburg, Village of Blaisdell, commercial businesses, and apartment complexes. The agreement includes weekly garbage pickup, recycling pickup every other week, and bi-monthly bulk item pickup. Modern Disposal will supply large totes, believed to be over 90 gallons, for the refuse and recycling pickup. This was the first garbage contract the municipality entered into, as previously residents would make their own deals with one of 3 refuse providers in the area, causing a range in price for collection from resident to resident. The contracted rate will be $239.91 per year for each housing unit with Modern Disposal. Modern Disposal did get in contact with Mahoney, saying they would work with the town to see if they could do anything to remedy the situation. I don't know if the town attorney will be contacted about any kind of early movement on that April 1st date, but the agreement was April 1st, Mahoney said. Councilmember Frank Bogalski suggested writing a letter to Waste Management asking them to extend service to those that would be without it as a show of good faith, noting that the refuse collection contract will come up for bid again in the town in the future. Mahoney said Modern Disposal will be putting out information, including a district map and collection schedule, in February for town residents. New restaurant with drive-through planned for 5400 Southwestern Boulevard moves closer to site plan approval. A planned restaurant with a drive-through at 5400 Southwestern Boulevard is heading closer to site plan approval following a Town of Hamburg Planning Board public hearing. Benderson Development, the developer for the project, is seeking site plan approval for an 8,020 square foot multi-tenant out-parcel building. This project would add to the tenants at Briarwood Square. At the public hearing held last month, no one from the public spoke on the matter. The restaurant will be in the area south of where Texas Roadhouse will be positioned. Texas Roadhouse, located at 5450 Southwestern Boulevard, which received site plan approval from the board in March, has started construction. When the new restaurant project last came in front of the board in November, Matthew Oates, Director of Engineering for Benderson Development, said no tenant was in place yet for the planned restaurant. That was still the case in December. As Oates informed the board, no tenant has been selected. He added that it's typical for a tenant not to agree to a space until the developer has gotten further through the planning process. In November, some board members felt more stacking spaces for the drive-through may be needed based on who the tenant might be. The site plan did show 10 stacking spaces, with Oates stressing that the tenant wouldn't be a heavy drive-through user. We're marketing more towards a cafe or fast casual user, Oates said. He added that if the tenant ends up being a fast food restaurant, Benderson Development would have no problem with the matter coming back to the board for further discussion on more stacking spaces for the drive-through. Oates additionally told the board that they have improved pedestrian access for individuals coming off of Southwestern Boulevard, something that was brought up as a concern by board members in November. Josh Rogers, a planning consultant for Wendell, will prepare a draft resolution for site plan approval for the board's meeting on Wednesday, January 7th. You've been listening to Around Our Area, a weekly look at community newspapers from around Western New York. Your reader for this hour has been Linda Lover. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Ampol Eagle. At 4 o'clock, we have the Grand Island Niagara County Tribune Sentinel. And following that, 5 o'clock, we have the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,